Think of ancient history, and the same images appear. The Great Pyramid, the Sphinx, the incredible wealth of the Nile. Millions of visitors travel to Egypt every year to see these monuments in person. Yet we rarely discuss the specific forces that actually managed to seize the Egyptian throne from the pharaohs. The common answer usually involves the Persians, Alexander the Great, or the eventual arrival of the Roman legions. While those empires did arrive later, a different power marched north centuries earlier. An African civilization crossed the Nile, defeated the Egyptian pharaohs, and claimed the crown for themselves. This was the Kingdom of Kush. It was a regional superpower that controlled the entire Nile Valley, but it has been effectively erased from the standard historical record. To find this empire, we have to look south. Most history focuses on the northern delta, but the Nile continues deep into modern-day Sudan. Beyond the First Cataract, a series of rocky rapids that acted as a natural border, lay the land of Kush. The landscape here offered a fertile lifeline through the desert. This narrow green corridor allowed for a level of agricultural stability that was rare in the region. Controlling this stretch of the river meant controlling the trade. Ivory, ebony, incense, and gold all flowed through Kushite markets, connecting the resources of Central Africa to the markets of the Mediterranean. Humans have been farming this land for over 7,000 years. Over centuries, these small cattle herding communities organized into towns, and eventually into a kingdom ruled by a lineage of kings. This concentration of resources and trade dominance turned Kush into a critical geopolitical player and a primary target for the expansionist empire to their north. These gold artifacts represent the specific reason the Egyptian pharaohs looked south. To the Egyptians, gold was the flesh of the gods. They needed a constant supply to decorate their temples and bury their dead, and the deserts of Nubia held the richest deposits in the ancient world. Around 2000 BC, Egypt launched a series of military invasions, marching their armies south to seize control of these valuable mines. The Egyptians built heavy stone fortresses to monitor the river and extract taxes from the Kushite people. They effectively turned the region into a colony. For centuries, Kush existed as a vassal state. Its wealth and labor were siphoned off to build the monuments of the Egyptian Golden Age. Around 1700 BC, northern Egypt was invaded by the Hyksos, fracturing the state and breaking its hold on the south. As the Egyptian military retreated to deal with the chaos, their fortresses were abandoned. After generations of occupation, the Kushites were suddenly independent. They used this freedom to build a new center of power at Napata. This city became a thriving hub of African wealth and royalty. Beside the city stood Jebel Barkal. The Kushites believed this mountain was the residence of the god Ammon, making it the spiritual center of their entire civilization. While they adopted Egyptian writing and religious structures, the Kushites remained culturally distinct. They kept their own African language and specific burial customs, refusing to be absorbed into the Egyptian identity. This combination of Egyptian administrative knowledge and a fierce, independent military culture created a new superpower, and they were finally ready to march north. The turning point came with King Paye. He saw the political instability in the north and decided to lead his army toward the former colonizers. Paye's forces moved steadily across the desert, launching a massive campaign to reunite the Nile Valley under their own terms. The campaign was a success. Paye defeated the Egyptian pharaohs and claimed the title for himself, uniting the entire region into a single empire. For nearly a century, the men wearing the crown of Egypt were not Egyptian. They were black African kings from the Kingdom of Kush. These ruins in Sudan show the scale of their architectural ambition. Kushite engineers built hundreds of these steep stone pyramids. In fact, there are more of them here than there are in all of Egypt. They also mastered iron forging and were led by fierce warrior queens, who would later challenge the Roman Empire. How did a civilization with this much influence and physical evidence simply disappear from our education? For generations, history books focused almost exclusively on the Mediterranean. When early European explorers first saw these ruins, they often attributed them to outsiders, refusing to believe an African kingdom could have built such sophisticated monuments. That narrative is finally being corrected. Modern excavations in Sudan are uncovering palaces and gold mines that provide undeniable physical proof of the empire's reach. The story of Kush proves that ancient Africa was home to independent superpowers that shaped the course of human history, even if the books were slow to admit it.